Oh, excuse me, BB-8. I was sitting here. This is a box, an original box for the Panasonic GH2. And I'm here to talk about why I bought one in 2020. So let's check it out. Alright, if you're not familiar with the Panasonic GH series, they've become quite popular among independent filmmaking enthusiasts. I actually shoot with the GH4. I've been using the GH4 for about a year and a half now. I got it for $700 at the time, and then I had the 25mm 1.7 aperture lens, and that was about $150. So I spent $850 at the time for my camera setup, and it served me great. The one thing that I really needed though is a good B camera, especially if it's like an unboxing video or I'm featuring a product, to capture a second angle. Originally, I started off with the Nikon D3400, which is a good stills camera, but it's not great for video, and I don't know why I bought it. I knew it wasn't good for video, but I think at the time I had limited options. I should have got a Panasonic G7. That was that. So then, of course, I started using my phone, and currently I have the iPhone 11 Pro. And while that's good, it's difficult to match up the colors. A lot of times the auto exposure and all the auto stuff on the iPhone would really mess with the shot that I wanted to get. And I could have downloaded like Filmic Pro, but it's still not the same as having another camera in the same family, which is why I ended up here with the GH2. So I actually got this used for $80 on Adorama. And the reason that it was $80 is not like this is normal price. Typically, they're around $229 for what I've seen used, at least through Adorama. On eBay, they kind of range from that $200 to $400 price range. And the reason it was $80 is because it is damaged. The aperture / shutter dial is broken. The housing around it is broken. So it works one way. You can adjust the aperture shutter down. You just can't adjust it back up. It was one of those things where it was like, it's $80. It's a huge discount for a used camera, but is it worth it considering that it's already partially broken? There's also like some weird, it looks like burn mark on the bottom, but I don't know where that could have possibly come from unless they set it on something hot. I don't know. But that's when I got to researching, because honestly, full disclosure, I used to work for Panasonic. I worked for Panasonic for 2 years doing tech support, including camera support. That's how I got familiar with the G series cameras, and I've used all of them. Well, I've used pretty much from the GH4 to the GH5S. Just playing around with them at work. That's why the GH4 was such a lock for me, because I knew how good of a camera it was. But the GH2 I really wasn't familiar with, because we never really had customers call in about it. Rarely I would get a call on the GH3, but I wasn't really familiar with it at all. So that's when I went and did my research, and I didn't realize that there were all these hacks available for the GH2 to get way better video quality out of it. So I was shocked when I found out when the people were recording well over 100 megabyte and 1080p on a GH2. I was fascinated. The two best videos that I found were actually from MadScienceFilms. Last year he did a video about why you should buy a GH2 in 2019, and that was a great video. It really helped inform my decision. And then also this year he did a video about how to hack the GH2 in 2020, and that was also a great video. And I'll link both of those videos in the description below, because I'm still a novice when it comes to all this camera stuff, which is another reason I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money on a B camera. I still haven't got the full use out of my GH4. I'm just now learning how to do white balance and color grading. So I still have a long way to go, and I don't think that buying a super expensive camera right now, especially like as a second camera, will really benefit me. It was difficult to tell how good the video quality was, because a lot of the videos that were out there were from like around the time frame this camera came out, like 2011, 2012, and you know, YouTube's compression was a lot worse back then. So I was like, you know, this video looks good, but it looks really compressed. So it's hard to tell how good a quality it actually is, even with the hacks they had applied. When I looked at the more recent videos, I was starting to get an idea of what the video quality was like. Of course, one of the limitations is this only does 1080p at 24 frames, and that's it. So if you want to shoot at 1080, 30, or 60, this is the camera for you. This can do at 720 at 30 and 60 frames. but not 1080p. So if you want a 1080p camera that can shoot higher frame rates, this is not it. That's more than fine with me. I've been shooting at 24 recently anyway, and it's been fantastic. I really like the cinematic look. I jumped in, bought this camera for $80. I also wanted another 25mm lens. Not necessarily matched, but something that was close to what I already was using on my GH4. So that's when I got the 7 Artisans 25mm 1.8 aperture lens for $70 on Amazon. And I watched some videos on that, and I was like, the video quality on that seems like it's really good. So I was overall excited to get this combo for $150. And so far, I really had a lot of fun with it. So my Secret Gaming Man video, I actually used it to record the second angle from behind me. My news video from this week, I used it to record the close-up angle. And this generally recording stuff around the house. Like I did record stuff pre-hack, like out of the box. And even then, the video quality was still really good, even without the hack. But after applying the hack and getting those higher bitrate files, it really did make a huge difference. The one thing I will say with the MadScienceFilms video is he does go through everything. I did run into some issues registering for the form that you have to go to download the hacks. The tip that I'll give you is, if it's telling you that it's not accepting user registration at this time, try putting in a stronger password. That's what ended up happening to me. I tried like 10 times to register for this form. I think it's like personal viewer. And I just kept getting not accepting registration at this time. So I made like a way stronger password, and then I finally accepted my registration, and I was able to go in and download the hacks. Yeah, I'm really loving this camera, and I'm really blown away. I think if you can get one relatively cheap and you're doing something like YouTube, that this is an awesome camera. Awesome, I'm recording this whole video on the camera, which is why I just have the box in front of me. The camera's over there on the tripod. But yeah, overall it's been great. Now, there has been some challenges. For one of the things that I like with the GH4 is being able to use the image app on my phone to kind of set the focus and start recording remotely. Like after I have everything set, like I'm sitting down at the focus and then remote recording. This camera doesn't have built-in Wi-Fi from the time frame that it's from. I wasn't expecting it to. So I do really miss that. The other thing that I use a lot personally is focus peaking on the GH4. I'd still use manual focus either way, but focus peaking just makes it way easier for me to set my focus. There's always a risk of hacking the camera, but at $80, I felt a lot more comfortable with taking that risk. I really felt like it was a low risk, honestly, because I was like, well, the camera's already partially broken anyway. And as far as the shutter aperture dial being broken, the reason I gambled on it is because I was like, well, I'm pretty familiar with Panasonic cameras, and I'm pretty sure you can just adjust both of those in the menu for if you're doing video anyway, and that's what I'm buying this camera for. And yeah, and it hasn't been an issue at all. Overall, I'm shooting this whole thing on a setup until excluding I am using the Rode Wireless Go with this, and I'll even throw in a couple extra bucks. I did have to buy a 2.5 to 3.5mm mic adapter so I could use like standard microphones with the camera. So I'll throw in another $5 on top of that, so $155 altogether for this kit, excluding the cost of the Rode wireless microphone, but that's not really part of the camera. That's just a mic that I'm using. So I would say $155 camera for this, to get this quality video, is insane. It's completely insane. Yeah, but overall, if you can get a GH2 at a relatively low price, this can offer you some outstanding video quality, even in 2020. I'm still going to go back to my GH4 for my main camera because it doesn't look that good. But I think I definitely got a return in my investment for the $150 that I spent. And I'm really enjoying this camera so far. It's a lot of fun. It's a new camera to learn. It's definitely an older system. The menus are a bit convoluted, but I still think it's definitely worth it if you can get one for a good deal or a good price in 2020. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, and subscribe, and always do at least 2 things at the same time. Peace.